The zodiac sign of Virgo, excerpted from the book Nuova Guida all'Astrologia by Ciro Discepolo, Volume 1, Earth sign, mutable, feminine, negative, ruled by Mercury, period, August 23rd to September 22nd. Virgo is the sixth sign of the zodiac and spans from 150 to 180 degrees. Its advent coincides with the beginning of the downward curve of solar energy, when after the explosion of nature experienced between spring and summer, one begins to think of winter. For this reason, one seeks to offset the ongoing energy decline with logic, and it is the time when grain is stored and when man, emulating the industrious ant that represents the sign, makes provisions for the coming frost. The speculative element is what triumphs at this stage. Mercury, the lord of the sign, presides by qualifying this zodiacal 12th with all its cerebrality. Mercury has its nocturnal domicile in Virgo, while in Gemini it has its diurnal domicile. These are two layers, each involving a multitude of values quite different from one another. In both, the cerebral element prevails. But while in Gemini this is detached from any directing circuit and expresses itself mostly as an unspecific desire for knowledge, in Virgo it is supported, guided, and conditioned by a speculative need it is always subservient to utility. Virgo, unlike Gemini, does not leaf through the encyclopedia to feed 1,000 curiosities, but to find a suitable diet for their colitis, to learn bridge, or to educate themselves on how to care for their plants. In the former case, the keyword may be superficiality, in the latter, direction. Other keywords identifying the sign of Virgo are method, investigation, seriousness, detail, particularity, differentiation, precision, repetition, industriousness, scrupulousness, incredulity, criticism, and selectivity. On the negative side, fussiness, pedantry, pettiness, calculation, stinginess, narrow-mindedness, sarcasm, and hypercriticism. An individual particularly marked by Virgo, i.e., if more than one value in their birth chart is in the sign, is nervous, neurodystonic, and vegetative, industrious, tendentially intellectual, precise, critical, and concrete. This last attribute comes from the earth element, which links them to the other two signs, 120 degrees apart to the right and left, in the zodiac, Taurus and Capricorn. They trust only their five senses, reject philosophical speculations if they do not start from the concrete, and do not let themselves be influenced by the charm of mystery, daydream, staged atmospheres, wordplay, or dream sellers. They often repeat the question, what does it mean? Where are you going with this, Oni? They hate ellipses and allusions, while appreciating the exclamation point. In the Apostles' sign's attribution, Virgo is connected to Thomas, who believed in Jesus' resurrection only after touching his wounds firsthand. Not being kissed by the solar energy that vitalizes and makes one optimistic, Virgo is inclined by nature to distrust themselves and others. Their gaze is always attentive, vigilant, and ready to catch deception. It is another element of their cerebrality. They do not accept anything in the form it presents itself and tend to analyze people and events under a microscope until they grasp all possible facets. They are the classic person who splits hairs and studies the parts to see if they are equal. They are the one who finds the hair in the egg, nitpicking. With them one must measure their words because they leave nothing to chance. Depending on the subjective perspective, Virgo is either the most boring or the most appreciated being on earth. For an Aries, for example, who hates detail and repetition, she is the boring housewife who imposes slippers when crossing the living room, sprays deodorant if one smokes, keeps deadlines noted on the calendar, washes lettuce with disinfectant, and doesn't laugh because she missed the allusion in the joke. For the drifting Pisces in search of a safe anchor, she is instead the light of the house, the safe point of reference, order, precision, the perfect nurse, and the excellent interlocutor who knows how to listen like no one else. She is the one who, when speaking, adds or takes nothing from the discourse but says only the indispensable, the faithful companion, in the case of a man, the model employee, the almost objective observer. Virgo is particularly industrious and makes a gymnastic habit of their work. They are not ambitious and do not aspire to be in first place. The role they most like to embody is that of the eminence grise. They are the excellent number two, the sharp advisor, who knows how to instill the right doubts. They do not want to be first because they are tendentially insecure and have a modest idea of their own abilities. On the contrary, they love the second spot, which allows them to act without too many eyes on them. It may happen, if the chart justifies it, that the tendencies described so far, which can be summarized under the label of blocked personality or psychological constipation, are reversed. In this case, we have the disordered, inconclusive, anarchic, sloppy, immoderate, and logorrheic individual. In love, both the Virgo woman and man are rather cold. Many cases of frigidity and semi-impotence are found in the sign. This is due to the excess of cerebrality that characterizes the native. They do not like to lower their guard and relax even in the most intimate moments. They usually remain vigilant and critical, always studying the situation. They are the classic person who plays it safe, planning and ensuring everything. From their point of view, nothing should be left to chance. Personal and environmental hygiene, olfactory sensations, they are the ones with a nose in the air for smells. And ecology in a broad sense play a major role in their sexual activity, which is fraught with obstacles due to the signals their thousand antennas constantly transmit. Among Virginians we find many bachelors and spinsters. Their marital status does not indicate a prior will for isolation, but explains where one usually ends up when the critical sense is too accentuated. Every relationship possibility is experienced by Virgo with the maximum investigative severity. The suitor is sifted, scrutinized, investigated, bared, criticized, evaluated, prosecuted, and most of the time condemned. Even after the admission exam, the tests continue. It is fair to say with Eduardo de Filippo that in a bond with a Virgo, exams never end. Life with those born under the sign is never easy because from the beginning, overwhelming passion is missing and an air of inquisition prevails. But as mentioned, the judgment perspective is subjective, and for many this stinking, critical, serious, industrious, controlled, and rational being can be the best in the world. Their greatest virtue, the one most appreciated on the market of love, is fidelity. Work is the existential sector where Virgo can give and obtain the best satisfaction. Their defining attributes make the reason for this evident. Some professions, given their temperament, are strictly excluded. For example, those with a high degree of risk, racing driver, assault policeman, diver, etc. Those requiring fantasy and imagination, fashion designer, artist, press agent, etc. And those involving an aptitude for command. On the contrary, all clerical activities are particularly indicated. The typical Virgo is the model employee, the scrupulous and attentive official, and the faithful collaborator. Where there is a need for maximum precision, there is a need for a Virgo. The Swiss are astrologically considered Virgos for their proverbial exactness in building watches and respecting the schedules they set. The Virgo doctor is the one who makes the patient repeat 99 to the point of boredom. The Virgo mechanic is the one who tightens bolts twice. The Virgo accountant is the one who always double-checks the figures, and so on, confirming that representatives of the sixth zodiac sign deserve the utmost professional esteem and trust. The discussion regarding Virgo's health is particularly in theme with the sign's characteristics, as the typical representative is a health enthusiast constantly worried about personal hygiene, attentive to nutritional problems, and interested in medicine in general. Descending the zodiac man, after the Leo heart, we find the Virgo intestine. Since Virgo is constipated in a broad sense, and their major activities involve selecting, discerning, and separating the intestinal apparatus, with its organs and functions, is the most significant pathological zone of the sign. Nervous, psychosomatic, and neurovegetative problems are also present in the majority of those born in Virgo. The man of the sign is usually traditional, social, a creature of habit, methodical, and inclined to follow the majority. He could be defined as aseptic, given his evident lack of passions, appearing rather grey to others. He drinks little, does not want to risk, and is generally stingy. Probably his best partner is a Virgo herself, who can understand and appreciate his constant domestic complaints. So he is not what one defines as virile, and provides little satisfaction to his partner from this perspective. His favorite hobbies include gardening and card games, in which he can excel due to his excellent intelligence. The woman of the sign is exactly what an anti-feminist husband might desire in domestic matters, but she is certainly not laudable in terms of femininity. The sexual coldness characterizing the male of the sign is an octave higher here. There is in the Virgo woman a feeling of virginal modesty that makes her look at the love act as a sin or a reprehensible act. In work she's exceptional, especially in the medical field, revealing herself to be far more precious than men in the rigor with which she performs her duty. Physically, she tends to stay slim and youthful, also because she's among the most convinced followers of the philosophy of the diet. The child of the sign is hardly a child, in the sense that they are more rational than emotional. They do not attract great sympathy and do not emerge in groups. They have a rather weak constitution and a poor recovery capacity from illness. From an early age, they love looking around and listening to others. Parents often wonder about the perfect gift. In the case of a Virgo child, you can go straight for a small microscope. With it, they will delight in looking inside things, scrutinizing, investigating, and expressing their satisfaction for classification and the analysis of detail. Mountain holidays are more indicated for them than those at the sea. The compensated Virgo. They are tendentially very transgressive in a broad sense. They dress casual, very casual, almost deliberately poorly often, use foul language, and are very casual sexually. Often the men wear their hair long and very messy. They easily resort to tattoos, flashy earrings, and even objects of poor taste. They care about appearing against from every point of view. They betray more often than other signs. They feel a particular pleasure in breaking rules and conventions. Their habitual position is that of the opposition in every situation. They are very disordered, both physically and mentally. Their existential destiny is the proof. We can find them even at 40 among those unable to integrate into society, rebels and anarchists. They know little of personal hygiene. They eat terribly and speak even worse. Particularly significant Virgo subjects from the collection in the appendix, numbers 9, 20, 21, 30, 32, 41, 48, 50, 55, 56, 61, 62, 64, 78, Federico Fellini, 85, Aldo Moro, 86, Giuseppe Saragat, 95, Winston Churchill, 96, Richard Nixon,